And so her question is, I've got a list of his limits and I have some ideas of what to do, but I can't seem to execute a good plan of action for this scene. Do you suggest going with the flow of the scene or planning out steps? I felt a little lost in the first scene we did last week. So this is like new. And Jess is feeling a little imposter syndrome. Okay, so you said, Jess, that you know his limits, but you're still having trouble navigating a scene. You need to know more than a submissive's limits before going into a scene. The limits are often viewed at like the extreme top level. Like, these are like, no, you can never go past this point. These are like, you will be abusive if you go past these limits. You will violate consent if you go past these limits. Like, there's a lot of deep emotional context around the word limits. And I've in my experience, I view dominance looking at that as like, oh, as long as I know where I can never, ever take them, I'm great. I have all of this other territory to play in. So that to me is a very novice, newbie kind of mentality. And so, Jess, I would just phrase it to you like this, frame it to you like this. Limits are just one part of what you need to know going into a scene. You also need to know your submissive's curiosities. You need to know what really, really revs them up. Their kinks, their curiosities, their limits, things that won't cross a limit but are in the punishment arena. You need to know that. Things that aren't in the punishment arena but they're in the funishment arena. You need to know that. You need to know all of these other more nuanced patterns about your submissive before you're really going to have the data that you need to go into a scene. So knowing the limits is not the end all be all. Like Mommy Cass said so simply, limits are the stop sign. You got to know what the green light is. That's it. So if you're trying to navigate a scene, you're essentially trying to drive the car. You're trying to drive the car through a series of red lights. Beautiful analogy, Mommy Cass. I'm just taking it and running with it. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're trying to drive the car, but all you have are red lights. You need the green lights. You need these other things to help you fill in the activities of the scene. If you're this new, plan it out because you're grappling with insecurity, imposter syndrome, anxiety. Do not rely on you being able to stay in the moment, read the room, be present right now. With how in your head you are, plan it out. And that's exactly what the link that Austin sent, how to build an amazing BDSM scene. It's here on YouTube for free. I also have some bonus content on Patreon, scene building guides and worksheets that will help you out. So know their limits, yes, but you also want to know the green lights, their kinks, their curiosities, their punishments, their punishments, all of that. So as prepared as you think you need to be, double it, triple it. Over prepare, over plan. And in addition, I would say visualize. Literally take yourself through a guided meditation where you are not emptying your mind. That is not my definition of meditation. If you empty your mind, a whole bunch of other real crazy shit can come floating right in. So we want to have control over our mind. And part of meditation is we fixate on something and we reinforce it. Okay? And so if you can sit down with yourself and you can focus on visualizing, okay, this is how I want the scene to start. And this is what I want to do after that. And this is what I want to do after that. And these are the toys that I'm going to need. And you visualize, you sit by yourself with yourself and you visualize the whole scene from start to finish. Okay? Then I want you to actually stick with those moments that make you feel uncomfortable in the visualization. And this is key. You will run into things in the visualization that are going to make you feel like you don't have an answer. Where you're going, oh, I really don't want that to happen. Oh my God. Okay, things like that. Those are the moments you need to stick with. Because what this will do is allow you the opportunity to plan for the out. plan for the win. Okay? So if in your mind's eye you're going through this scene and one part of the scene, something happens, the submissive starts laughing, and you're like, oh my God, I would die. I would just want to curl into a ball in a corner and die. I would be so humiliated and embarrassed. I'm trying to be sexy and dominant, and my submissive is laughing. Okay? Let's say you're going through this process in your visualization and you run into that. Don't run away from it. Sit with it and think about, how are you going to handle that? How would you handle that? How would you handle that in a way that allows you to maintain your sense of dominance and power, and stick with any moments that you're running into that are like, oh gosh, I really hope that doesn't happen. Okay, what if it does? What if it does? And then from a neurological standpoint, it will be like you already went through it. So if you're doing this in visualization, meditation, where you're going through the scene and something weird or awkward or scary or unwanted happens in the visualization, your body will actually, if that does happen live, your body will actually react in the moment like, oh, this isn't new to me. We've already been there, done that. We know how to handle this. And it's a very, very, very powerful method, okay?